And welcome to the Twilight Zone, the zone where the unknown is made known with stories involving real people and real places. You've just crossed. Hello and welcome to the Twilight Zone, the zone where the unknown is made known with stories involving real people and real places. You've just crossed the threshold of reality and into the unknown, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. A dimension where the laws of nature bend, where the unexplained unfolds, and where the supernatural lurks just out of sight. Prepare yourself for a journey beyond understanding, a realm where the ordinary meets the divine, and the supernatural leads to deeper truths. This is the Twilight Zone. To the Twilight Zone, the zone where the unknown is made known with stories involving real people and real places. Yemi Balogun is my name. Well, tonight is a very special night, and it's because I'm going to be showing you a video. What happened was that the gentleman I interviewed was, he is involved in a prayer meeting that's been going on for over 2 years now, where they've been praying every night for Nigeria. So tonight he had to make sure, he was at that prayer because it's never been broken. And so we had to do an interview with him earlier. So I'm going to play the interview now. And I want you to do me a favor. You need to click, you need to subscribe to this channel. Very important, because there are some heavy materials that will be coming along and some heavy interviews that you're going to be watching here. And you need to click on the subscribe button and click also on the like button and the notification button and share to as many platforms as possible. What you're going to hear tonight is going to surprise many of you, but some are going to say, yes, this is what we've been talking about. And it's factual. And every time you listen to people arguing about Nigeria, whether there's a genocide against Christians or not, some will be saying alleged. But in this case, on this program, it's not alleged. This gentleman has facts and figures. There is genocide actually taking place. So for President Trump to make a move like he did, he must have information. And definitely he has information. Because the man of God I interviewed tonight is in the eye of the storm. He's there in the midst of the displaced people, in the midst of people being slaughtered on a daily basis. He's actually one of those, he has 2 organizations that have been raising money to look after those people. And even the church leaders are not supporting. The big boys, they're not supporting because it's not their business. And it's very sad and very unfortunate. But please, watch this program. And when you finish watching, if you love what you've seen, please share it everywhere, because there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of materials that are being used to muddy up the water. Oh, what about other people being killed? Oh, Trump is not happy that Nigeria has a refinery, the largest in Africa, and rubbish. You know what? Watch this program. But in the meantime, please keep sending your messages forward onto live@vowtv.org, or your text messages to the numbers displayed on the screen, because I'll be reading them out and I'll be reacting to them. God bless you as you sit back and watch. Hello and welcome to the Twilight Zone, the zone where the unknown is made known with stories involving real people and real places. You've just crossed the threshold of reality and into the unknown, where the ordinary becomes a dimension where the laws of nature bend, where the unexplained unfolds, and where the supernatural lurks just out of sight. Prepare yourself for a journey beyond understanding, a realm where the ordinary meets the divine, and the supernatural leads to deeper truths. This is the Twilight Zone. Welcome to the Twilight Zone, the zone where the unknown is made known with stories involving real people and real places. Yemi Balogun is my name. And you know what? Tonight is a very special night because there's a lot happening on social media, especially. And the President of America gave the Nigerian government an ultimatum to make sure that the Christians in that country are well protected and there's no more slaughtering of Christians by Islamic radicals, or the Americans would have to take military action. As a result, the internet has gone crazy with so many Nigerians out there, so many media houses discussing this issue. And we thought, and there's a lot of strange messages out there. There's propaganda, there are outright lies, and there are so many things going on. So we decided that tonight we need to get someone on the ground, someone in the eye of the storm, to share with us exactly what is going on the ground there in Nigeria. And the gentleman we have tonight is actually the CEO of two organizations. One is called Christian Social Movement of Nigeria, and the other one is Lay Faithful Trust Foundation of Nigeria as well, and is also the secretary of another Nigerian organization. It's another Nigerian organization which is a National Christian Elders Forum. So we have Pastor Bosun Emmanuel with us tonight. He used to be in Germany, a pastor, but the Lord called him to Nigeria. So he will be explaining that to us tonight. Welcome to the program, man of God.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
Praise the Lord. Yeah, can you just share a bit with us about yourself, how you came to know the Lord, and whether it was a spectacular encounter? It might bless someone watching tonight.
Thank you very much. I come from an Anglican family. Interestingly, the last born of 26 children.
Wow.
My father had 4 wives.
Serious.
And I'm the baby of the family. I came to the Lord inside my room using the Gideon's Bible, which was given to me during my National Youth Service Corps. I accepted the Lord inside my room, and I made up my mind that within my first year, I will read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, which I did, and I've been repeating it every year since then. I became a pastor in 1993. I started pastoring actually in 1992 at the Redeemed Christian Church of God in Port Harcourt. And we went to Germany for some missions work. And in 2006, the Lord brought us back to Nigeria. The instruction was go and meet the information need of Nigeria Christians, that Nigeria church lacks information. And God led me into areas in which I was able to gather sufficient information. As of that time, I never knew what we are seeing today will take place. But I was in Maiduguri, I was in Gombe, in Bauchi, in Jos, in Dutse, in Jigawa, in Kaduna, in Kano. 2012, 2013, 2015, at the height of the Boko Haram insurgency, I was on ground because I was part of the team of Voice of Christian Martyrs, and we were taking relief to persecuted Christians in northern Nigeria. It was the information that I gathered in the process of that assignment that I compiled and delivered in 2014 in a message that went viral, a message that was tagged the wake-up call. And I alerted Nigerians, and particularly the Christian community, that what we are seeing today will take place, that there was a plan, a deliberate plan to eradicate Christianity in Nigeria and kill all the Christians and make sure Christianity no longer exists in this country. I delivered that message in 2014. It had a political undertone because I mentioned the name of a political party, and I warned Christians that this political party must not be permitted to form government. That if this political party should form government in Nigeria, Christians are going to suffer tremendously. They will suffer, and Nigerians too will not get by at all. It all came to pass with uncomfortable accuracy. I would say uncomfortable accuracy. I wish it did not come to pass, but it came to pass. And everything which God made me deliver in 2014 has been validated in the past 11 years by the activities of a political party in government in Nigeria. For the sake of decency and not to sound too political, I will not want to mention the name of the political party, but Nigerians will understand what I am talking about. So that is where we are today.
Wow. The Lord bless you, man of God. Thank God for your
Thank you, sir.
life. And you know, those places you mentioned, Bauchi, Maiduguri, Gombe, those are the heartland of Boko Haram. How did you manage to survive in those places all these years?
Well, we were going in and coming out with relief, and each time we went in, we had to be sure of security report. At some instances, we had police protection. At some instances, we needed security people to be around us, to be amongst the persecuted Christians. But I tell you, when people come out now with a counter narrative that there is no genocide in Nigeria, I totally disagree with them, because I documented the genocide. At the Voice of Christian Martyrs, we reasoned that most people don't like reading long reports. People prefer to read reports that come with pictures, that come with images that they can identify with, faces that they can see, places that can be shown, and then a short story explaining what they are looking at. So we proceeded to produce magazines of the persecution, the genocide going on against Christians in Nigeria. I produced 5 of those magazines, each one 60 pages. So I have 300 pages of documented evidence of genocide in Nigeria against Christians. Magazines that show the pictures of survivors, pictures of victims, places that were destroyed, burnt churches, towns that were sacked, secondary school that all the students were evacuated from a Christian area in Tafawa Balewa in Bauchi State, and all the students were relocated to a Muslim-dominated area. We have all those things on record. So if anybody comes out today and say there is no genocide, I will tell the person to produce his or her own evidence that there was no genocide, and I will provide my own evidence that there was and there is still ongoing genocide against Christians in Nigeria.
Wow, man of God, this is serious what you're saying, because you said from your interactions in those areas, you found that there was a plan to wipe out Christianity in Africa. How can you wipe out millions of people? What strategy were they trying to use?
The same strategy that they are using right now. And so far, it has served them well. You see, it's a combination of a lot of things. There is what is called the stealth jihad, and there is the violent jihad. The stealth jihad is referred to also as civilization jihad, working through institutions, compromising institutions. And most of the institutions in Nigeria have been compromised to the extent that there is a mass exodus of Nigerian professionals in Europe, in America, in other parts of the world. It is part of the jihad to make the country inhabitable, to make the country uncomfortable for a particular set of people. If you look at the statistics of those who are leaving Nigeria now, most of them are Christians. they are being forced out. Those who cannot be forced out are being killed. They are being annihilated. And it is deliberate. I will mention a conference that was organized in Abuja in 1989, November 1989. There was a conference organized by Islam in Africa organization. At the end of that conference, they produced a communique. The communique is in the public domain. I have a copy of it. Other people have copies of it. And one salient point in that communique, the Islamists say, and they wrote, I quote, to eradicate. They use the word eradicate in all its forms and ramifications, all non-Muslim religions in member nations. Such nations shall include Christianity. In the original declaration, the word Christianity was underlined. So if someone is now bringing a counter narrative that America is threatening Nigeria because of mineral resources, I will tell the person, did America organize that conference in 1989?
Wow.
Was it America that produced that communique that they want to eradicate Christianity in Nigeria in all its forms and ramifications, which means whatever is associated with Christianity in Nigeria will be wiped out? Whether it is a school, whether it is a business, whether it is a hospital, whatever it is, and whomsoever it may be that is Christian, was marked for annihilation. It's a deliberate agenda.
Man of God, I thank God for your life. And I agree with you totally. Because some years ago, that was around 2012, I was in Nigeria. And I sat with a pastor friend of mine. He's one of the big boys. And he said they bought a building in a state in Nigeria, and they wanted approval to use the building for church. He said the approval wasn't coming through. So he secretly appointed two of his elders to go and check what is holding this approval down. And they did their research. They found out that every desk that approval has to pass through was under the control of a Muslim. And that's why they sat on it, because they didn't want it to come out. So which is in line with what you're saying.
To confirm and corroborate what you have just said, access to land in Nigeria is issued through what is called Certificate of Occupancy, C of O, to be signed by the state government. It is on record that churches are not given C of O in the northern parts of Nigeria in the past 30 years.
Wow.
Those who have access to land buy it from those who already have the land and the C of O. And in some instances, they will say they want to use the land for educational purpose, for any other purpose, but not Christianity. In fact, Christians in the north say, from what they told me, is that there are 3 places that do not receive C of O. Number 1 is a house of prostitution. Number 2, a beer parlor. Number 3, a church.
Serious.
So
wow, that is
the discrimination against Christianity did not just start now. From 1987, there have been series of religious riots in Nigeria. all in the northern part of the country, and Christians are always the target. In fact, when the late Reinhard Bonnke came to Kano to come and do a crusade, Kano went on fire, and Bonnke had to be smuggled out of Kano. If not, they will have killed him. There have
Wow.
been series, Kafanchan riot, Kaduna riots in Gombe, riots in that of Kano is Syria. So these things
Wow.
are not just happening. So when people come up with this counter narrative now that it is America, it is the West, it is economic banditry, I ask them that, was it the Western powers who was organizing all those religious riots in Kano? Was it
Wow.
the Western powers organizing the Kafanchan riot? Did they organize the Sharia riot in 2000 in Kaduna? And when these riots take place, hundreds of innocent Christians are killed. Churches are burned. Christian businesses are destroyed. There is an intolerant brand of Islam in northern Nigeria that does not want to see any other religion apart from Islam.
Thank you, man of God. Wow. Man of God, this is heavy. I want to just encourage the viewers to please make sure you send this program out to everybody you know on Facebook, on YouTube, on Rumble. Please, very important, because the man of God is releasing some heavy stuff tonight. God bless you. Man of God, the question some people be asking is, okay, if they don't want Christianity in that part of the world, why don't you break up the country back into the regions that were there initially?
That's an interesting question. But first, let me take a step back and let's ask ourselves, how did this problem start? If we understand the source of a problem, then we will be able to understand the solution. There are two brands of Islam in the world today. There is Islam as a religion, and there is Islam as political ideology. The Islam as political ideology is called Islamism. And that is why some people are referred to as Islamists in Islam. Now, Islam is a religion, just like Christianity is a religion, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism. Islam is a religion. Islamism is not a religion. Islamism is a set of political ideologies that believe and teach that wherever Islam is, Islam must dominate. It's a political ideology. Therefore, in that quest for domination, wherever Islamists are, they get into conflict with other beliefs and with other societies because they seek to impose their views, their beliefs upon that society. That is the problem that Europe is now beginning to discover that they have. That is the problem that America is now waking up to realize they have. They now call it civilization jihad. Some call it a clash of civilization. No, it is not a clash of civilization. You are dealing with an ideology. And that ideology says wherever Islam is, Islam must dominate. Now, where did it start from and when did it start? Historically, in 1924, Kemal Atatürk, the leader of Turkey,
Yeah.
who was called the father of the Turks, Atatürk, Mustafa Kemal, dismantled the caliphate the Ottoman Caliphate in 1924, and he opted for Western civilization so that Turkey can develop. In 1928, 4 years after, a group of Islamic fundamentalists met in Egypt at a village called Ismaila. That group was led by a man named Hassan al-Banni. They set up the structure to revive the caliphate. They had a number of goals. Number one is to revive the Islamic state called the caliphate. So you can understand where ISIS came from, where ISIS has its root. You can understand where al-Baghdadi, who called himself the caliph of ISIS, where he came from. That is the root. And then they said they want to introduce global Sharia, that the whole world should be governed by Sharia. The body that they set up is what is now referred to as Islamic Brotherhood. Okay. It is that Islamic Brotherhood that is the driving force of every Islamic terrorist group that is in the world. And the goal is global Sharia. They've taken the Sharia movement to United Kingdom. They've taken it to France. They've taken it to Germany. They've taken it to USA. They are demanding Sharia in all those countries. It is the move of the Islamic Brotherhood. That is the problem. Now, how did it enter Nigeria? In 1962, the Sardauna, the late Sir Ahmadu Bello, was moving from Muslim country to Muslim country on what he called Islamic reunification movement, trying to get the Muslim Ummah to unite. His efforts led to the first World Islamic League Conference in 1962. There was a World Islamic League Conference in 1962. It was as a result of the efforts of the Sardauna. Now, on those trips, Sardauna was accompanied by Sheikh Abubakar Gumi Sr., the father of the current Sheikh Ahmad Gumi.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, it's now making sense.
Yes. It was when they got to Egypt, Sheikh Gumi came across the handbook of the Islamic Brotherhood, the document of the Islamists. He brought it to Nigeria and started implementing. The first organization Sheikh Gumi set up was the Jama'atun Nasril Islamic Society, JNI. That body still exists today. So from that 1962, Islamism supplanted Sufi Islam, which was the traditional Islamic doctrine in northern Nigeria. It was the Sufi. That was a peaceful, tolerant brand of Islam, much like what you see in the southwest of Nigeria. You see, if you look at Islam in the southwest of Nigeria, it is different from Islam in the core north of Nigeria. In Yoruba land, for example, Nigerians will understand, in Yoruba land, you can have the father is a Muslim, the wife is a Christian. The children are divided. Some will be Muslim, some will be Christian. In one family, you can have one part Muslim, all of them will celebrate Christmas together. All of them will celebrate the Islamic festivals together. They don't discriminate. And when it comes to the society, they carry it over. In fact, Yoruba people say they do not adopt insanity with religion. It's a common saying among the
Yes.
Yorubas.
Yes.
In the north, they don't practice Islam as a religion. They practice Islam as Islamism, as political ideology. That in this place, before you can get anything, you must be a Muslim. Before you can get any position, you must be a Muslim. And if you are not a Muslim, then you don't have the right to be here, except you want to go to the grave. So that is the root of the crisis that we are having in Nigeria. America did not start it. Those who are trying to bring in America, trying to bring in economic banditry, it's a counter narrative aimed at distorting the truth and causing confusion. The problem is there is an agenda, and Islam is an Islamist agenda. They've gone a step further. They've brought it into the Constitution of Nigeria. The Constitution of Nigeria today, the 1999 Constitution, is an Islamic constitution. It is not the constitution of a secular state. Section 10 of the Constitution says no government of the federal or state shall adopt any religion as state religion. And the same Constitution now created a dual conflicting ideology within it, because Islam is mentioned in that Constitution 73 times. Grand Qadi is mentioned around 54 times. Muslim is mentioned around 28 times. Islam is mentioned a number of times. There is no single mention of Christianity, no single mention of Christian, no single mention of Jesus Christ, no single mention of Bible, no single mention of any traditional religion, no mention of any other religion, only Islam in the Constitution, which is contrary to Section 10.
Yeah.
So you have a constitution that is fighting against itself. So it is that dual conflicting ideology in the Nigeria Constitution that spills over now into the society. And that is why a lot of people have called that the Constitution of Nigeria should be changed. Because this particular constitution, Nigerians did not produce it. It was imposed by military decree 24 upon the country by the military when they were living in 1999. So these are the dynamics that emboldened the Muslims. Because when they look at the constitution only talks about their religion. So for them, the country is an Islamic country. So what are you Christians doing here? That is the root cause of the problem.
Wow. Man of God, this is serious stuff. What you are revealing tonight is heavy. You mentioned there that a guy called Sheikh Gumi went with the Sardauna to visit the Muslim Brotherhood to get ideas about how to do things. So that there's a Gumi today who is actually always negotiating for the terror, with the terrorists. Is it the descendant of that same Gumi?
Is the son.
Wow.
That is his son.
Negotiating with the terrorists and asking the military to absorb the terrorists into the army.
That is the son of his father.
So now I come back to the same question I asked before. So why can't we just split up the country and let the South, that's majority Christian, mind their business, and the North, that's majority Muslim, mind their business. What's stopping us from going that way?
That creates a serious problem. The perception that the North is Islamic. The North is not Islamic. The Middle Belt, which is not central, is Christian. Borno State, half Borno State is Christian. Southern Borno is Christian. Gwoza, Chibok, Biu, and other local governments, they are Christians. That is why the attack of Boko Haram is concentrated on Southern Borno. Gombe is about 40% Christian. Kaduna State, Southern Kaduna is Christian. In fact, Kano has a thriving Christian population of Kano indigenes, Hausa indigenes, who rejected Islam. They are called the Maguzawas. They are Christians. Zuru in Sokoto, they are Christians. There is thriving Christian population in the north. So we should not talk about Benue State, Plateau State, Nasarawa State. Those are predominantly Christian areas. Over 90% of the population are Christians.
Serious.
So you can't divide the country on the basis of religion. Because if you do, then you are isolating those Christians. And it is just like they are being sentenced to death.
I agree with you.
Because even with the population of Christians in the South, we can still see what is going on now is going on. What will happen if the country should split?
Okay.
Then all those Christians are at the mercy of the jihadists.
Wow.
So for that reason, there is the sentiment that, look, let's work this thing out. And the starting point, let us have a new constitution. And number two, let us return to regional autonomy. We still have one Nigeria, but let's return to regional autonomy. Let each region manage its security. Let each region manage its education, manage its health, manage its economy, and then pay royalty to the center as it was done at independence.
Wow.
But you see, some guys have discovered that under the unitary system, they have unfettered access to the resources of the nation.
Yes.
And they are sitting on it. So that is the problem.
Wow. The other question, because you talked about the Muslim Brotherhood, I noticed from research that the Muslim Brotherhood, they're not allowed in Egypt. In fact, they've been declared, illegal as terrorists in Egypt, in Qatar, and so many other Arab nations. So, but the question is, why is the West romancing with them? Why are they in Germany, in Britain, in America?
Well, from what we can see, the politicians in the West, not the West per se, the politicians in the West, in UK, in Europe, in America, thank God for President Donald Trump. Some of the politicians believe that they are playing politics, and they believe that it is in their political interest to romance the Islamists. They have come under the influence of stealth jihad, the civilization jihad, which I mentioned earlier. Now, unless someone sits them down and explains to them that you are playing with a rattlesnake, these people are not your friends. They didn't come to share your country with you. They came to dominate your country. They didn't come to share your values with you. They came to impose their own value system. The same value system that turned their countries into living hell is what they want the Western nations to adopt. It's an agenda, and the most frightening thing about it is that force cannot defeat it. Force. If you become forceful, it will get worse. I'm sure the Western nations saw that in Afghanistan. They saw it in Syria. They saw it in Libya. It's an ideology. Only a counter ideology can work.
Wow.
There has to be a counter ideology to overcome the ideology of Islamism.
Wow.
And the West has to start deploying its counter ideology of democracy. And the church has to deploy its counter ideology of love overcomes hatred.
Wow.
That is what will work.
God bless you, man
But
of God.
force will not work.
Okay.
It's like putting fire, it's like pouring fuel to put out a fire.
Wow, man of God. Okay. You are talking about the communique that was drafted by those Islamists who gathered in Nigeria in the 80s. Do you think President Trump or these Western leaders have all these materials to inform them about the dangers of Islam?
Interestingly, we got wind of the communique from United States of America.
Wow.
Even though the conference held in Nigeria, the communique was not made public in Nigeria because it was under the regime of President Ibrahim Babangida. And Babangida did everything possible to promote Islamism in Nigeria, primarily for his own benefit. Yeah. Unfortunately, or fortunately for Nigeria, he played himself out. He was going to use Islamism as the stepping stone to actualize his own political ambitions, but he played himself out. In fact, in that communique, they wrote there thanking the government of Nigeria for donating $21 billion of Nigerian money to the Islamic Development Fund of the OIC. $21 billion in 1989. This matter has been in the public domain since 2014. No Muslim has come out to deny that that money was given to them.
That is serious, man of God. You know, another question I'm going to ask now, this one is a heavy one. I noticed the big churches in the South, and I'll mention their names. The Redeemed Christian Church of God. They have auditorium that's 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers. We have the KICCs of this world, the Mountain of Fire, the Winners Chapel, the Deeper Life Church, and all those guys. They have monies in the millions or billions. How come they're not supporting our brothers and sisters who are dying every day in the North?
As you said, that's a heavy one. That is a heavy one. Let's even look at it this way, sir. Let's even agree that the money which they had, they did not release it. Because, there are two titles that you read out for me at the beginning of this conversation. CEO, Lay Faithful Trust Foundation. CEO, Christian Social Movement of Nigeria. Now, what does Lay Faithful Trust Foundation do? Lay Faithful Trust Foundation will raise donations from Christians to take relief to persecuted Christians in Nigeria. In Plateau, in Adamawa, in Kaduna, wherever persecuted Christians are, we raise small amount of money. Now, we started this project in 2014 with Christian Association of Nigeria, with CAN. And the plan was to raise 5 billion naira every month, primarily to succor the persecuted Christians and to build Christian structures that will promote democracy. Pastor Orishe Jafo was the president of CAN. He understood what was going on.
Yeah.
He was supportive, and he encouraged the establishment of that CAN Trust Fund. How are we going to raise 5 billion naira? Very simple. We were to ask 10 million Christians to donate 500 naira a month into a common Christian purse. 500 naira from 10 million Christians is 5 billion naira. Now, nobody will feel it. Yeah. It will not weigh anybody down. It will not weigh any denomination down. 500 naira is so meager in Nigeria. Some people use it to buy mobile phone units in one day, and they just tuck it away like that. But if we can get 500 naira from 10 million out of the over 100 million Christians in Nigeria, we will have 5 billion naira. So the churches don't need to bring their money. We will raise fresh money. After Pastor Orishe Jafo left office in 2016, the church leaders, they killed the CAN Trust Fund. I can tell you the story because I was the national coordinator. I was the one who brought the idea. I was given the mandate by National Executive Committee of CAN in Makurdi on 9th July 2014. It was approved by the church. It was approved. The moment Pastor Orishe Jafo turned his back and his tenure ended in July 2016, they killed the CAN Trust Fund. So, in 2020, the National Christian Elders Forum said, the way this thing is going, they will kill every Christian in Nigeria one by one. They won't kill all of them in one day. They will kill them one after the other, one after the other, because
slowly.
Christians have no structure to stand, to resist what is going on. Christians have no funding to support their persecuted brethren. That since CAN has killed the trust fund, Let us start it afresh with Christian Social Movement of Nigeria. I also happen to be the CEO of Christian Social Movement of Nigeria. So we picked it up again, floated another body to do the same work. That other body is the Lay Faithful Trust Foundation. When we started Lay Faithful Trust Foundation, CAN officials wrote a letter to all the church leaders that they must not support it, they must not contribute money. Yes, I have the letter.
Serious.
So if you are now asking why don't they bring their money, the people will not even allow you to take independent money. Will now release their own money? No, they will not release it. Because the mindset of some of our church leaders is that they are the only ones authorized by God to collect money from Christians. No other person should collect money from Christians. And yet the money belongs to the Christians.
Wow.
But they believe that it is only the churches that has the right. So if you are doing this kind of a thing, you are competing with them as far as they are concerned. They don't see it as you are trying to help the other Christians or you are trying to help persecuted. No. They see it as the money that is supposed to come to their church, the money that their members are supposed to give them. That is the money you are collecting, saying you want to go and help persecuted Christians.
That is serious, man of God. It is serious. Paul the apostle said in the Bible, he said, I robbed the rich churches to give to the poor churches. These churches in the south, some of them have private jets. They have helicopters. What is going on? What kind of mindset is that? Could it be they are running a business?
It is the mindset of the Nigerian political class, which some of our church leaders might have adopted. And that mindset simply says, to whom less is given, much is stolen. I hope you got that, sir.
Yes, sir.
To whom less is given, much is stolen. That's the mindset of the political class. And that's the mindset in some Christian circles.
Wow.
In Christian circles, much is not stolen, much is collected.
Wow. Man of God, this is serious. You know, I thank God for your life, for what you said about Pastor Ayo Orisejafo when he was the head of CAN, the Christian Association of Nigeria. I was interacting with him, and he was explaining that when he was appointed the head, whenever he went to meet with all these other religious leaders, especially the Muslims, said they were not happy because they said they prefer to have the Catholic priests who used to head the CAN, because those Catholic priests are very respectable. They don't come with aggression. They don't come and counter whatever they But Pastor Ayo met them one-to-one as equals. They didn't like that. Do you have any information to that you can share with us?
Yes, I do. A lot. But they are the kind of information that should not be made public.
Wow.
There are certain things that in the process of this work, one has come to know about the church, that it is so distressing. Pastor Orisejafo, I pray God will send to Nigeria Church another leader in the like of that man. Look, sir, if Pastor Orisejafo had remained the president of CAN for another 1 year, what is going on in Nigeria today will not be going on.
Wow.
I can assure you, it will not be going on. In fact, Nigeria will not have a Muslim ticket.
Wow.
You see, what Christians, particularly Christians outside the country, need to realize is that some of our church leaders are more sympathetic towards Islam than towards their Christian brethren.
Wow.
And when you tell Christians this, the tendency is for them to argue with you that yes, that pastor, yes, that pastor, yes, that church leader, but our own pastor doesn't do that kind of a thing. They do the kind of thing. They are more sympathetic. Pastor, I give you an example. In 2018, after Buhari had spent 4 years and we were preparing for the 2019 election, on the platform of Christian Social Movement of Nigeria, of which I'm the CEO, we planned a Christian political consensus. Because for 2019 elections, around 60 Christians came out to contest for the presidency. And there were from the north, Muslim North, Buhari, and Alhaji Atiku. I got National Christian Elders Forum involved and then convened a meeting in Lagos. The meeting held in my office. Some Christian presidential candidates came and they gave us the mandate. They gave the elders, the Christian elders, the mandate to adopt one of them. They told us, if you lock all of us in a room, we will not come out with a consensus candidate because we are all politicians, even though we are Christians. Each one of us believe that is the best. But you adopt one of us. Whoever you adopt, the rest of us will step down. And all of us will support him. So that there will be only one Christian presidential candidate. Because we made it clear to all of them, look, you are too many. There can only be one president. If there are over 60 of you, then Christian vote, democratic vote is divided by 60. And you will not make any impact.
Yeah.
So agree amongst yourself. So they said, no, you endorse one of us. If you endorse one person, the rest of us, we will step down. And we left the meeting. On the day we were to hold the endorsement meeting, December 10, 2018, in Abuja, we had to travel to Abuja for that endorsement meeting. That was the day Khan got up. And Khan said it will interview presidential candidates, that it was going to conduct its own endorsement. And Khan invited Buhari and Atiku into the National Christian Center.
What?
Yes.
Serious? Serious? This is madness. Who was the head of Khan at that time, sir?
The president of Khan. I wouldn't, like I said, if they are not doing well, I wouldn't want to mention their name.
It's good to mention
But
this.
the
Christians
president
will know and learn.
is no longer in office.
Yeah, but who was he at that time, man of God?
It's Reverend Ayokunle.
I don't even know who he is. I don't have a clue. That means he's been bought.
It was the Baptist Convention president.
But then that means that what people are saying, that Khan has been politicized, that even in the midst of this trouble, Khan is taking the side of the government. That means that is true.
Taking the side of the government. Taking the side of the government is generous. I think the reality is pro-Islam.
Wow. Man of God,
It didn't start with Pastor Richard Jafo. In case somebody out there is saying, no, this can't be true. Anyway, that was how the Christian political consensus project was destroyed.
Serious.
When Buhari managed to get back for second term in 2019 through the usual way they do elections,
Rigging.
one of the first group to go and congratulate him was the president of CAN and CAN officials.
Oh Lord,
the
have
picture
mercy.
is available.
You know what, man of God, I wish I wasn't. I wish I'm not. You know, I'm wishing I'm not. I'm thanking God I'm not God, because I would have killed all those guys.
Okay, let me tell you the one of 2023 then.
Yes, sir.
2023, there were 18 presidential candidates for 2023 election. 11 of them were Christians. Prominent amongst them was Peter Obi, followed by Adebayo Adewale, and then other Christian presidential, 11 of them, and then 7 Muslim candidates. CAN officials rolled out the red carpet for Tinubu and Shettima at
Muslims.
the National Christian Center.
Muslims.
The two of them Muslims. They came, and it was like a carnival. And CAN gave them 11-point demand that when they get into government, they will these are the things that the church expects from them. The president of CAN was there. The vice president of CAN was there. The other top church leaders, CAN leaders, they were all there. Then they welcomed Alhaji Abubakar Atiku, also in the National Christian Center, by the president of CAN. Pastor, no church leader welcomed Peter Obi.
A Christian.
No church leader welcome any Christian presidential candidate in the National Christian Center. They only welcome the Muslims.
Could it be they've been given some money?
Well, I can't confirm, but there is that rumor. I can't confirm because I didn't catch them collecting it.
No problem.
But there is that rumor.
But then going back to the Constitution again, because I realized that when they were building the Aso Rock building, which is the Nigerian equivalent of the White House, they put a mosque. They put a mosque in the building, in that huge building, but there was no church, which means they never expected a Christian to rule. And I believe it was when President Obasanjo, a Christian, was voted into power. That was when he asked for a church to be built, which is there today. Is there anything you can share with us about that, please?
And when Buhari came in, they were going to close down that chapel.
Serious.
And it took the personal intervention of Pastor Yemi Osinbajo that I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, the chapel cannot be closed. So the chapel was there during the 8 years of Obasanjo, of Buhari. When President Tinubu came in 2023, that chapel was shut down for 2 years.
Serious.
We had to raise a protest in our, I also work with the National Prayer Altar. We pray every night for Nigeria. And we produce a weekly prayer call. So we had to do a prayer call specifically entitled Aso Villa Chapel. And we drew the attention of Christians that for 2 years now, Aso Villa Chapel has not been observing Sunday worship service because the Tinubu administration did not appoint a chaplain. Then some people came and told us that they meet during the week, that there are prayer meetings going on, that they meet. Do they hold Sunday worship service? The answer is no. As of that same time, there are over 6 functional mosques in Aso Villa.
Serious.
Over. So it is only of recent that President Tinubu has now appointed a chaplain for the Aso Villa Chapel after we raised that protest. And we call on the church leaders that what are you people doing? You are the people who gave the assurance that the Muslim ticket will not discriminate. What is going on here? Can't you go and talk to your friends? It was after that a chaplain was appointed.
Serious. But you know, the current President Tinubu will be a Muslim, his deputy a Muslim, and a lot of Christians were telling us at that time, oh, he's married to a pastor, so he's sympathetic towards Christians. So why would someone like that do something that terrible to shut down a chapel? And the wife, who is supposed to be a pastor, what's her role there?
Well, some of these decisions are taken at a level at which a wife has no say in the matter. Some deals were made for support from certain quarters before election. You know, political horse trading. Certain interest groups will have demanded certain things, that we will support you on this condition. When you get there, this must not be done. When you get there, this must not be done. When you get there. That is why, even though President Tinubu with his mouth denies persecution in Nigeria, persecution is greater in his own reign, even than under Buhari.
Wow. That is serious, man of God. Yeah. That is serious.
No, I'm not the one who's providing the statistics. I can give you the statistics. Wow. It's official statistics of the federal government.
Now, man of God, let's go back to the persecution and the genocide. You know, you travel around, you've been to all these IDP places, and I learned there are over 3 million Christians in the internally displaced people's camps. What can you tell us about that?
Let me correct that, sir.
Yes, sir.
In June 2025,
yes, sir.
This year, 2025, United Nations Commission for Human Refugees, yeah, UNHCR.
Okay. Yeah, UNHCR, yeah.
UNHCR for humanitarians and refugees or something, came out with a report that there are over 8.18 million Nigerians in IDP camps.
Wow.
8.18. That is more than the population of some countries. Nigerians in IDP camps.
But what percentage?
Majority of them are Christians.
Okay.
We do not have, you know, because these figures are compiled by government officials. That is the Nigerian figures. And most of the government officials in charge of these sensitive areas will not be Christians by design. So that what needs to be said should not be said. But one thing is clear, there are more Christians in IDP camps than Muslims. There are lists of, I have a list, for example, of over 100 villages in southern Kaduna that the villagers, all the Christians have been sacked and Fulani have taken over those villages. The same thing in Plateau State, over 109 villages that the Christian residents have been sacked into IDP camps. The villages have been taken over. In fact, some of those villages, the names have been changed to Fulani names. And the same thing in Taraba State, the same thing in Benue State, the same in Southern Borno.
That is serious, man of God.
It is real. It
Now,
is real. If anybody says there is no genocide, the person doesn't know what he's talking about.
thank you for the information, man of God. But then, how do we help? How do people get hold of you to help and give some fund? Do you get support, enough support from Christians even across in the Western world, like where we are? Because I know that, some of us, we try little by little, but, do you get proper support?
No, we do not. Much of the support that we get is just from some Christians within the country that God touches. Once in a while, we find a foreign-based organization like Revelation TV was quite helpful to us some time ago. Like some brethren in UK spoke to their pastor and they raised some offering for the persecuted Christians and they sent it to us. Once in a while, we get those kind of help, but it is not consistent.
Okay.
And it is not enough to, as I'm talking to you now, I have requests from Benue State, from Kaduna State. Maiduguri is waiting. Whatever money we are able to put together right now, we are trying to do a graduation for some IDPs in Taraba that we sent on skill acquisition so that they can learn a skill and be financially independent. We were able to get 42 youths to go for that skill training. They have just finished and they came back to us that they need support to buy the basic equipment that they need. So money that we have now, we've had to send it to Taraba State. That program graduation was done this week. I think 2 days ago, it was done. We help the persecuted Christians in the payment of their children's school fees because the children must go to school. We can't pay for everybody. We try to buy food and sell food to them. This year, we could not afford to buy fertilizer to send to them. Every year, we will buy fertilizer to some of them to augment their farming efforts. We send medications to them. We gather clothes, good used clothes, and we send clothes because some of them leave their villages stark naked.
Wow.
Some live in the middle of the night, walking by the sound of AK-47. No time to grab shirt or grab wrapper. They fled naked, arriving at the next village without anything but their birthday suit.
Wow.
So we arrange clothes to send to them. All these are things that Christians should do, but CAN has written to Christian leaders that they must not support. CAN, the letter is available. So the church leaders refuse to announce it in their churches. And since CAN has told them not to support, they refuse to release the one that they have. So we have our brethren living under nylon tents, millions of them. No food, no decent hygiene, no decent toilet facilities, no clothes, no future. And some churches are building cathedrals.
Serious. That means the CAN, that's the Christian Association of Nigeria, has become an antichrist organization. From what you're sharing, this is serious stuff.
Well, if we look at that letter that they wrote, and we look at other actions of CAN, including this one of genocide, what caused this uproar? Senator Ted Cruz said they are killing Christians in Nigeria, there is genocide. Senator Ali Ndume issued a press release that statement is false, that there is no genocide, that in fact they are going to the Senate to argue this thing out. And they went to the Senate, and Senate denied, said there is no genocide. And there are Christian senators at that plenary.
Wow.
There were Christian senators there. And then the next thing was that an official of CAN did an interview and said that there is insecurity in Nigeria. Both Muslims and Christians are being killed. That it is not just Christians that are being killed, so it may not be right. And that was what started the uproar. It was CAN.
Wow.
And immediately there was a leadership meeting of CAN. This was on the 7th of October, 2025. And by the 8th October, the president of CAN now issued a counter release that there is persecution of Christians in Nigeria. But you will notice one thing. In that statement of the president of CAN, from beginning to the end, he did not once mention Muslim. He did not mention Islam. He did not mention jihad. Why?
That is very sad, man of God. That is serious. That means we're going to have to pray. We're going to have to pray. And you know, what is so sad about it all is that, you know, the church is not helping. So I want to use this opportunity to tell everyone watching, if you're a pastor, you are watching this, you've heard what your brothers and sisters are going through in one part of the world. I want to encourage you to actually take down details on the screen, take down the account details of this ministry, and please send some money to them. Send some money. And I thank God for some men of God who have been calling me, especially a brother called Evangelist Daniel Chand. He called me. He said, Pastor, we've heard of what's going on in Nigeria. We want to help. Do you know any contact? I say, yes, I have Pastor Bosun Emmanuel. And he said they raised some money in their church on Sunday, and they package everything to send to the account number that I sent to them. So I want to encourage you, please, if your pastor is not watching, you please go and tell your pastor. Tell them that, please, we need to back this ministry up in particular. Back them so that you can actually, be the one to do the work. Tell the pastor to appoint you as you want to go around collecting this money, because we need to send money to them from here. Because when you send serious money from Europe and America, it has impact than the local guys on the ground. So that's what we need to do. So Pastor Bosun, I want to just give you some minutes to just speak from your heart what you expect the church in Europe, in America to do in terms of support and everything.
Yeah. Well, first, let me thank the global church for the support that they have given to Christians in Nigeria. We have received prayer backup from various Christian groups globally. We are now receiving a lot of advocacy support, particularly from United States of America. We want to thank the government of US, particularly President Donald Trump, as well as the senators. We should not forget that this matter of genocide did not just start. In 2020, President Trump designated Nigeria a country of particular concern. After he left office, it was withdrawn. And the killings did not start. Let me make it clear to our Christian brethren in other parts of the world, there is genocide against Christians in Nigeria. There is a deliberate program of action to eradicate Christianity, not only in Nigeria, but in the whole of Africa. Because the plan, the strategy meeting of the Islamists is to turn Africa into an Islamic continent. That is what they are working on. And for them to be able to do that, Nigeria must primarily become an Islamic nation. So they have a goal. We need more prayers from you. We need more advocacy from you. And definitely, we need financial support. Lay Faithful Trust Foundation is financially transparent and accountable. You can visit our website. You will see what the money is being used for. The accounts of Lay Faithful are audited annually. We engage in annual auditing, and we have a board of trustees made up of reputable Christians who manage this funding. So the money doesn't go to an individual, and an individual does not disburse your donation. There is a structure in place to make sure that every kobo that is donated is accounted for and is judiciously utilized to help persecuted Christians. We need a lot of help, and God bless you as you help our persecuted brethren in Nigeria. Thank you all. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much, man of God. But I'm going to still ask you some more questions, because when you look on the internet today, there are a lot of materials, a lot of conflicting materials. And I know the devil wants to use those materials to muddy up the water so that people won't know the truth. And one of those sad ones was by this man called Pastor Wale Adefarasin. And Wale Adefarasin was saying, oh, the reason Trump wants to get involved is because we now have a refinery. We're not buying oil, refined petroleum from America any longer, and it's for economic interest. Can you imagine if a man of God of that stature talks that way? Would you say that these guys are ignorant of what's happening in the North, or they've been paid to say those things?
The pastor is playing politics.
Wow.
The same pastor who spoke, Pastor Wale, I was in his church with Voice of Christian Matthias. I have the picture in which we spoke about the condition of the persecuted Christians and what they are suffering. And his church raised donation for persecuted Christians. I have sat with him one-on-one, explained to him what is going on in the North. He knows. He knows.
Wow.
But you see, everybody will decide which side they will stand with Jesus Christ.
Amen.
That's all I will say.
God bless you, sir. And I agree with you because, and you won't believe this, 12 years ago, I was in Nigeria. And I was staying in a place called Ilupeju in Lagos. And at Ilupeju, I was on this estate. The estate opens up on one side to Ilupeju proper. On the other side, it opens up into Mushi. And I was wearing a t-shirt and a pair of jeans with my trainers. As I stepped out one day, I saw like a tent with so many guys. You can tell they were Muslims because they were wearing this kaftan. And I drew closer to check what kind of meeting was taking place. That was way before, I'm talking about 2011, 12, before Buhari came into power. And I was listening to them. And guess what? They were APC members. They were holding a meeting about how to take Lagos. And they were sharing envelopes. And in the envelope was money. Because I thought it was secular. I saw it was money. And there was then the guy who was sharing the envelopes. There were white envelopes and brown envelopes. The white ones he gave to people from Lagos who spoke Yoruba, who were from Lagos proper. Then he now said, there are some amongst us who are our brothers, but they come from over the seas, like over the river, in the river Niger. He says, so they are part of us as well. These brown envelopes are for them as well. So that was when I knew this was a political meeting. I left that place. I crossed the railway line to the other side. The same meeting was taking place in another ward, sharing envelopes. So I went to see Pastor Wale Adefarasi, Itua Igodalo, Tony Rapo, Idowu Iluyomade, and there's another guy in Abuja. And I was telling them, this party is a Muslim Brotherhood party because all of the guys I'm seeing there are Muslims. They're not Christians. And they have an agenda. I say, you guys have to wake up. You need a media house that will project Christianity forward and at the same time back Christian candidates. I was going back and forth. I got tired. I left. I came back to the UK because I saw this problem coming. What's happening today? I saw it coming. But they didn't see it because I think they were comfortable in their position, which was very sad.
Yeah. Correct. That is, it's not the only one. It's not the only one who spoke. It's not the only one. I understand the president of PFN2 spoke along the same line.
Wow. Bishop Wale, okay.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Then something is wrong somewhere. I think God has to do something. But man of God, let me ask you a question. If you are visiting the Oval Office now and you're standing in front of President Trump, what advice would you give him that could put a stop to this nonsense?
Put pressure on Nigeria to change its constitution. Put pressure on whatever he can do to make Nigeria change its constitution and convene a sovereign national conference so that the indigenous ethnic nationalities of Nigeria will produce their own constitution. Once that is done, all this matter will collapse.
Praise the Lord.
All this problem will collapse. You see, what is killing Nigeria is that 1999 constitution. The power structure, the resources in Nigeria, everything is concentrated at the center. So everybody is scrambling now. If Tinubu should sneeze, everybody will catch the cold. They can't do anything. If a state is being attacked, that state has to apply to Abuja before police will come. When they attacked, I think it was Nimbo in Enugu State. They attacked Nimbo. They had intel that the terrorists had arrived, they were going to attack. The state governor called all the security officers, the inspector general of police, the head of the army in his state, the police commissioner in his state, the head of the army, the head of DSS, call all of them. And they told him, before we can do anything, you must obtain approval from Abuja.
Oh, Lord.
The governor called Abuja. Abuja kept him waiting for 6 hours. During the period, the terrorists struck and they killed the people. After the terrorists had killed the people and they were making the escape, the survivors were going to retaliate. That was when Abuja gave the clearance, and the military installations in Enugu State now moved to stop the people from pursuing the terrorists.
Oh, Lord. That is serious, man of God.
It's documented. It's in the media. You can Google it.
That is serious, man of God.
If I should see President Trump, a new constitution, put pressure on Nigeria with the European Union, with the UK. There must be sovereign national conference. Let these people determine their future. Let them decide how they want to run their country.
Thank you so much, man of God. In fact, I'm going to put you in touch with the lady, and I believe the lady would help you. If you can draft a letter along that line, I can assure you, because her son works in the White House, we can try and get that letter through to that son, to the president. And because there's a lot happening on the ground, which the president is not aware of, but the little he knows that something is wrong on the ground. And this is very, very sad. This is sad. That, oh my, it's very painful. So like you said, because I was talking on TV this morning, and I said maybe you should just put sanction on all leaders, political leaders in Nigeria and their families and all those guys, to be refused visa into Europe or America, because these are places where they hide their money. And if you can't have access to that money, that will put pressure on them to do something about it. But then I saw a video where a woman from the north said she met President Tinubu in London, and she was asking him, what do you have for us in the north? And the president was saying that he's scared that if he does certain things, he might be killed. Have you heard of anything like that?
I saw the video. I saw the video. That is why I said there were political horse trading before some people came into power. Wow. Some agreements were reached that you must not touch this side. Whatever you see going on in this area, just close your eyes.
Serious.
And somebody agreed so that he can come into office. It is just true.
But then, what a lot of these, the southern Muslims, what they don't realize, because I was a Muslim, I grew up in the north. What the southern Muslims don't understand is that the northern Muslim only uses them for political reasons, but they don't respect the southern Muslim, because they say these ones are not Muslims. They drink alcohol, they smoke, they go out with girls, so they're not proper Muslims, but they're only being used. But it seems like the guys in the south don't still understand the agenda that these Muslims are operating with from the north, that when they finally take over, which God will not permit, they're going to come after the southern Muslims as well to take them out.
Well, I think they understand. As of this moment, everybody is scrambling for what he can get from the center. And they realize if you don't play ball, you don't get anything. They realize Muslims are very vocal in, at least Yoruba Muslims. They are very, very for an autonomous Yoruba nation. And if we go back a few months ago, when some people wanted to introduce Sharia court in Southwest, it was the Muslims from Yoruba land who resisted. It was not even the Christians. So when the Sultan spoke, it was Muslims in Yoruba land who told the Sultan that you are not our head. That whatever you are speaking for Muslims in your Fulani Muslims. So you are not speaking for Yoruba Muslims. We refuse Sharia. So they rejected it in Oyo State. They moved it to Ekiti State. Ekiti Muslims said, no way. You won't bring Sharia here. It will not happen in the Southwest. So Yoruba Muslims know. But as of this moment, they are also playing politics. If you don't dance to their tune, you don't get anything. Like everything is controlled by the center. All the resources, all the contract, all the development, it has to come from the center. If the center does not give you, you don't get anything.
Wow. Man of God, thank you so much. And I want you to use this opportunity to talk about the prayer program you have every night for Nigeria. How long has that been running, and how long for? And what time of the day? And how do people join you?
Thank you. We started praying for Nigeria April 18, 2022. It's over 3 years now. And that prayer has not been broken for one day. We pray 9 p.m. Nigeria time till 10 p.m. Nigeria time. And we intercede for Nigeria. We intercede for other nations of the world. We intercede for missions and for soul winning. We meet on Zoom. So it is possible for people to join us from wherever they are globally. We have participants from China, from US, from South America, even from the Middle East, and from all over Africa. People join every night, and if it is possible to publish the details on Zoom, yeah, that would be good. But the meeting is on Zoom and it's 1 hour. We start 9 p.m. on the dot. We end 10 p.m. on the dot, Nigeria time.
Praise
9
God.
p.m. Nigeria time. Every night. We are going to have the one tonight in the next few minutes. It's almost 8:30 now, Nigeria time.
Okay, which is 8 o'clock UK time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man of God, I want to thank you so much for making yourself available tonight. With the information
Thank you.
you've given, we have a clear idea what's going on, and a lot of us will know how to pray into the situation. And I believe it was through the prayers of your group and many other groups that God
Many
brought
other.
President Trump God brought President Trump into this matter. And with
That's
President
right.
Trump coming on board, things are beginning to shake. And the Muslims out there,
Amen.
they are afraid because they know that President Trump cannot be messed around. And we thank God for that. Oh, thank you so much for
Amen.
coming. I'll be back your way again.
Thank you
I'm
very
going to
much.
call you back again to keep on updating us as to what is going on up there in the north. God bless you, sir. We appreciate you.
God
Thank you
bless
so
you.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. God
Amen.
bless you.
All right, sir.
Bye.
On that note, I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll be back your way same time next week. Whatever you do, don't touch that dial because it is Vow TV, Voice of Wisdom, uncompromising, unadulterated television. God bless you and have a good night. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the Twilight Zone, the zone where the unknown is made known with stories involving real people and real places. You've just crossed the threshold of reality and into the unknown, where the ordinary becomes a dimension where the laws of nature bend, where the unexplained unfolds, and where the supernatural lurks just out of sight. Prepare yourself for a journey beyond understanding, a realm where the ordinary meets the divine and the supernatural leads to deeper truths. This is the Twilight Zone.